Hey, mahal everyone, welcome back again to the Broadway Saiyan YouTube channel. I am your host 40, and here we are again with another video on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, focusing again on the global version of the game. This time we're going to be covering Lenna, who is the upcoming character event. Now I did do the character prep video as far as the event itself with the details and some gameplay, so I'm going to be leaving the link to that video in the video description as well as the pinned comments if you guys want to see that. But this one is going to be focused on the character herself. Is she going to be good or is she going to be not good? So without further ado, let's go ahead and discuss Lenna. So what does she bring to global? Versatile, fast, and team player support. So the reason why I say she's versatile is because she covers not only being a Brave battery, but she also gives the party an HP regen and a Brave regen. Now this is taking into account that you have all of her gear, so please keep that in mind. But if she has all of her gear, she's versatile in that she covers all three of those aspects. She's also fast, so compared to some of the other support that we have in global that's very popular, she's actually faster than them, meaning that she'll be taking her turn first soon, so she'll be able to apply those buffs and that support that you need right away. And she's also a team player, and the reason why I say that is because when we go further into this discussion, you'll see that her buff that she provides to the party is actually a framed buff, meaning that she could pretty much be slapped on to many different team comps and not really contradict or conflict with another person's buffs or support or their own self buff, because hers is framed. And she's also a fairly good potential as a single target Brave Shaver, because her ability, which is Barrage, whether you have the regular version or the mastered version after using it, if there's only one enemy, all 9 or 15 of those hits are gonna hit that singular enemy. So she's actually fairly good as a Brave Shaver, let's say for a boss where you don't have to fight multiple copies of a boss. But whenever you throw in mobs in there, that's where her Brave Shaving kind of declines because her ability Barrage becomes random AoE. And she's definitely a great option as a support for newer players starting global DFFOO. And the reason why I say this is, let's say you're a new player, or you're somebody that's been very unlucky in getting Aiko or Saz's weapons, and you're coming into the game with some gems and the Lenna event's about to go live. She's definitely a great option if you want somebody for support and your party is lacking support based on your inventory. So this is why I mentioned that as far as what is she bringing to global, is that she has great value being there as a great support for new players. Alright, so I chose to compare her to Aiko because Aiko has probably the most similarities. I didn't really want to compare her to Saz because Saz is more of an offensive support, and unfortunately Lenna doesn't really provide anything offensive-wise, so we're going to go ahead and compare her to Aiko, since Aiko is probably one of our more powerful supports. So for comparing Lenna's Hiru's Arrow and Hiru's Arrow Plus compared to Smite and Aiko's HP regen, we're going to be taking a look at the Brave battery that they provide. So when you use Hiru's Arrow or the Plus version, for the regular version, you're going to be getting, she's going to be granting the party 90% of the user's initial Brave. And then if you use the Plus version, that is now at 120%. So if we compare that to HP regen, HP regen's Brave battery is going to be based on 100% of the user's initial Brave flat. Whereas Aiko's Smite kills that by a landslide with 200% of the Brave damage dealt, because it is a DPS ability. So comparing her to Aiko's Brave battery, her Hiru's Arrow is definitely better than the Brave battery that HP regen provides. However, you have to keep in mind that you do have to master it, but it's not going to be too much of a problem because Lenna is definitely faster than Aiko as far as the speed tier. And if you have her weapon, again, with her weapon passives, it only takes one usage of Hiru's Arrow to master that. So that is going to be pretty powerful as far as being a Brave battery to the party. Now we're going to compare the HP regen values that these two characters provide. So if we take a look at Hiru Arrow and Hiru Arrow's Plus's HP regen value, at the non-mastered version, you're getting 10% of your max HP replenished for 4 turns, and then at the mastered version, you're getting 20% of your max HP for 4 turns. So that is pretty good. Aiko's is going to only be at 8% for her HP regen, but where Aiko beats Lenna out is that hers lasts 3 times more, where it's at 12 turns, whereas Lenna's is only at 4. However, at least Lenna at the same time will also be dealing HP damage with her ability, so it's a little bit more versatile as far as being able to deal HP damage and also being able to provide support. And remember, she is faster than Aiko, meaning that she'll probably be doing this a little bit more often than Aiko. Alright, So Lenna's pros and cons. So her pros are she is amazing support covering 3 different aspects. So like I mentioned earlier, she's a Brave battery, she provides HP regen, and also she provides Brave regen when she has her 35 CP passive. Her heals have a ton of potential because it's based on her high initial Brave stat. So her initial Brave on its own is already high. It's one of her higher stats, and if you stack a lot of initial Brave on her, it's going to definitely increase the potency of the heals of her HP regen. So she's going to be really, really powerful as far as like a heal over time unit. Her Hiru's Blessing is framed, which means that it can stack. So for example, if you have a party of, let's say, Saz, Lenna, and Kuja, her Hiru's Blessing, because it's framed, it's not going to override any of the other buffs that those characters either give to themselves or from Saz providing that attack boost. So she works well. She's a great team player. She's not selfish as far as like, oh, my buffs are going to override this person's buffs or contradict this other character's buffs and things like that. And again, as I've been saying earlier, she's fast compared to other support, so she's on the fast speed tier. Now, what are her cons? So because she relies on that FF5 mastery system to get her full potential, it kind of makes it, she's definitely a little bit of a slow starter as far as getting her maximum potential out there. Her DPS, while it is fairly decent with the multiple hits being at 9 or 15 with her barrage, it's low because she has a very low attack stat and she doesn't have any way to buff her attack. So she's a little bit lacking on that as far as being DPS. And then again, her DPS does suffer when there's more than one target. So her barrage is at its full potential when 1, it's mastered, and 2, if you're using it on a single target, because you know that all 9 or 15 of those hits are going to hit. But if there's more than one target, it's going to be spread out and it's going to be random. So that's kind of what hurts her right there. Now, some final thoughts and tips when it comes to Lenna. So if you're going to be building her up as far as artifact passives wise, you want to go for initial Brave, so then that way you take advantage of her powerful HP regen, and then you also want to go ahead and build up her attack, so then that way she's not just mainly support, she's also dealing a little bit more Brave damage. So having that attack on her would definitely help her out. So again, like I said earlier, she can be used in many teams as support. So there are some team examples there, so like Lenna, Kuja, Kane, or Lenna, Lightning, and Papolino. And then again, she's a solid option for support if you're lacking Aiko's gear, or even somebody like Yuna if you had some unfortunate RNG as far as pulling those weapons. So she's a great character to pull for if you're missing out on those. Alright guys, well that's going to be my good or not good for Lenna. So is she good or not good? I'm going to say she's great. She's great support, she's versatile, she's fast, and she can do many things. So if you happen to pull for her, then you guys are definitely investing in a great character. And later on, she does get a level 60 awakening, and she gets an EX weapon, which makes her an even more solid support and healer. So she's definitely a character to look forward to building up in the future. Alright guys, this is 40 the Broadway saying, stay tuned for the next video, and mahal everyone.